Hey folks, I'm best-selling author of The Power Zero, David McKnight. In today's video, you'll see part one of my interview with radio show host Josh Jalinski, in which we discuss, among other things, the Dave Ramsey advice you should be following and the Dave Ramsey advice that you should avoid at all costs.
Hi, everybody. This is Josh Jalinski, the financial quarterback, with one of our favorite guests of all time, The Power of Zero author David McKnight, also father of seven. I forget, or eight.
So, yes, I'm in good company. 7, that's exactly right.
So this should be the Dads of 7 podcast. So love to have you on as many times as we can. We're talking about just you were sharing with me something that happened in the news this week. Let's talk about it. What happened with Dave Ramsey this week?
Yeah, so yesterday, Dave Ramsey was in the news. There's another financial advisor had tweeted a segment of his video that actually aired on November 2nd. And in that segment, a caller called in and said, hey, I know you always talk about how in retirement we can take 8% withdrawals, 8% sustainable withdrawals throughout our entire retirement because we're going to be getting exactly 12% every single year. Therefore, there's no problem with it. I know that that's what you've always said, but I was listening to a video done by, your sometimes co-host, George Camel, in which he stated that there is academic research and historical track record and a lot of verified data that says that you should probably not take more than 4%. And in some cases, you should not take more than 3% of your day one retirement balance, adjusted for inflation every year thereafter, for the balance of your retirement. And Dave Ramsey proceeded to absolutely eviscerate poor George Camel, and basically says, I can't believe he put out that trash. I can't believe that we're going to have to take that down. I don't know where he got those numbers from. And so I went back and looked at the actual clip, and it was a very innocuous clip. Then he used lots of academic data to back everything up. And Dave Ramsey proceeded to go on this rant where he says that anybody who tells you can't take an 8% withdrawal rate in retirement, they're just nerds sitting in their parents' basements, punching on a calculator. They don't have real money like I do. If they had real money like I do, then they would, I might be willing to listen to them, but none of them have any money. So why should I listen to what they had to say? In the meantime, his daughter, Rachel, is trying to get a word in edgewise to sort of calm him down and say, hey, maybe George has a point here. But really what this whole episode did was put in sharp relief this whole idea that Dave Ramsey is good at a lot of stuff. But when it comes to investing, he puts a lot of crazy stuff out there. Not only is it crazy, but it's actually harmful to his his listeners because we all know Wade Pfau, and Wade Pfau has said that if you have 100% stocks, which is what Dave Ramsey recommends, and you take an 8% withdrawal rate, which is what Dave Ramsey recommends, you have something like an 11% chance that your money will last through a 30-year retirement. So he's setting them up for failure, basically 89% of the time. And so Dave Ramsey, of course, says, well, if you have to do a 4% rate of return, you have to save twice as much money. That's not a very hopeful, optimistic message to be sending out to people. You're basically telling them that they have to save twice as much money as they really have to, and that's just not a hopeful message. So that was all over Twitter, all over social media yesterday, and absolutely blew up. And I got a video coming out on it next week. But it was a real big moment in terms of people having this realization over what Dave Ramsey really is good at and what he's not good at.
Wow. I mean, I'm trying to look for it. Guys, can you find it? I want to see this. This is shocking news broken by David McKnight of The Power of Zero. Not really shocking if you follow Dave Ramsey. So what was more shocking was George Camel actually said something that seemed reasonable. The 4% rule, which has been, back from 1994, the William Bengen Trinity study. And then Wade Pfau kind of said, hey, wait, why don't we do 3%? Why don't we do 2%? Whatever it is, it's Wade Pfau says 1.9%. George Camel says 4%. What's that guy? Michael Kitces says between 3 and 4%. Whatever it is. If you have a portfolio and you don't have life insurance, which, by the way, there is a way to spend 8% a year out of your portfolio, and that's generally by leaving a death benefit to your loved ones. spending all of your assets, amortizing it over a 30-year period, which is going to be more tax efficient, but they don't believe in that because they don't believe in permanent life insurance of any type. So that's a whole nother thing. But if your assets are your insurance policy, which is kind of what they're talking about, you buy term, you invest the difference, everything works out. Although, how many, before you were kind of a best-selling author and all these other things, you were a financial advisor, correct?
Mm-hmm.
How many people, because this will be a fun question, how many people actually bought term and saved the difference? How many people religiously followed Dave Ramsey's advice and accumulated $2 million or $5 million nest egg?
Yeah, I think that people that said, okay, I'm gonna like actually buy term and invest the difference. Not really many people did that. I think you had people that were already saving money well, and then they said, hey, I've got an insurance need, so I'm going to go buy a term policy to cover the insurance need for that term in my life where I think I'm most vulnerable. Should I, have a premature demise? But no, that's not really what happens, and that's something I address in an upcoming book on Dave Ramsey. Is that buy term invest the difference is not a real true apples to apples comparison. It's more like fruit salad. But I don't want to get too far off track. But Dave Ramsey, yeah, he's got a lot of pearls out there.
Here's why I want to go on this track a little bit, because I interview 2,500 people a year, belly to belly, people with between 2 and 10 million net worth. We see people with 500,000 invest, 300,000 invest, 10 million to invest. Most all the people with north of 2 million have gotten it through their income via savings, not through investing in the stock market for the most part. Some have invested and they've accumulated $2 million in a 401k, $5 million in a retirement plan, whatever it might be. But very few regular people, like the Dave Ramsey core audience, I would see 1 out of 100, somebody making between 50 and 100 grand a year, who actually accumulates $2 million from religiously buying one mutual fund and letting it be. I met with a couple even yesterday. They had 700 grand in a fund that they kept for 20, 30 years. But that's like a very few and far between thing. It's not, here's what I normally hear. Oh, I went to a thing at my church and I canceled my whole life policy because of being a good financial steward. I canceled my universal life. But now I can't get any term anymore. And I developed cancer. I developed fibroids. I developed heart attack, stroke, and I can't get insurance anymore. And now I have 200 grand in my name. I was saving a lot. I was doing the debt snowball. And then now I have 50 grand in my name because I can't work anymore. I didn't buy disability insurance. I spent all my whole life because he told me to cash it out to pay off my credit card debt. And they die like my father did at 70, 71, wonderful man who went to one of these programs at a church. And this is what kind of prompted me to get in the financial industry. He was a good, smart guy, my dad. Getting out of debt is a good, smart thing to do. I'm all for that. But at the expense of protecting your family, canceling your insurances, and then so many times, I hear horror story every year of somebody who says, I know a pastor who has cancer now. They canceled their insurance. And it was because of that type of misinformation that is plentiful. That's why I'm ticked off.
I would say, yeah. So here is how I would characterize Dave Ramsey. I would say, Dave Ramsey is not all bad. I would say that Dave Ramsey is good for bad investors, but he's bad for good investors. In other words, if you make $50,000 per year, and you're spending $60,000 per year, then Dave's your guy. I think he's got a pretty good, step-by-step program to get people out of debt and to sort of get them at least saving, which is better than what they were doing beforehand. But if you're already a good saver, you're already disciplined, you're already doing a good job of putting money away into your company plan or IRAs, Roth IRAs, what have you, And you don't need help with liquidating debt and getting on with your life. Dave Ramsey is precisely not the person with whom you should be working or seeking investment advice, because the type of investment that he gives out is just it's what I call in my upcoming book. It's a guru gap. It's Dave Ramsey gets you this far, and then he stops, and then the advice that you need to that your financial plan calls for or requires to help you wring the most efficiency out of your retirement dollars, there's a whole gap there that he doesn't fill. And that's what guys like you and I, Josh, we're trying to do, is we're trying to fill that gap where the guru sort of comes up short. But lately, Dave Ramsey is not just coming up short on his advice. He's actually giving out bad advice, whether it's buy term, invest the difference, get rid of your. I mean, well, here's an interesting thing that he says. He says you should not get for example, an index universal life policy because it has a surrender charge. However, if you have an index universal life policy, you should surrender it immediately, regardless of what the surrender charge is. In other words, assume the brunt of the penalty for surrendering the policy, which is precisely the reason he said you shouldn't get the policy to begin with. So, I think that you're right, Josh. I mean, he's dispensing a lot of advice that's leading people astray. Subtitle of my new book is Why America's Financial Advisors Are Leading You Astray and How to Get Back on Track. And so I train my sites not just on Dave Ramsey, but on Susie Orman and Ramit Sethi and the White Coat Investor and Clark Howard, so on and so forth, because they all participate in this vague, generalized financial planning to some extent.
And I would even, and it's just wrong. I just think back what happened to my parents. These people, they have a holy jihad against insurance products. Yet, even if you believed that, right, you shouldn't cancel your term insurance. You should have term insurance equal to 20 times your salary. You should have disability insurance equal to 2/3 of your salary, even if you didn't believe in index universal life or whole life. But that doesn't really, come to the forefront. So what people hear when they go to one of these programs at a church, or they listen to Susie on CNBC, if she's still on anymore. I don't even know if she's still on. I haven't seen her on TV in a while. Sometimes she's on PBS specials. But they listen to life insurance bad, investments good, and then they never actually save the difference even. And there might be 1% or 2% that successfully buy term and save the difference, but the vast majority of people, they don't save enough. And whether, if you're saving 15% of your pay religiously from 30 to 65, if you're buying term and saving the difference, you're probably going to be successful. If you're buying whole and saving the difference, or buying IUL and saving the difference, you're probably going to be successful because of the savings rate. But there are these people, they listen to the soundbite, they cancel the policy, and then they have some type of calamity that happens. I was just on the phone with a client before. The wife is really disabled now. And, doesn't have disability insurance because they became clients after they were too old and uninsurable. But it's, when if every 20-something in America got term insurance equal to 20 times their pay and disability insurance equal to 2/3 their pay, you wouldn't have many problems, other than unemployment.
Okay, folks, that was part one of my interview with radio show host Josh Jalinski. If you would like some help implementing a balanced, comprehensive approach to tax-free retirement that shields you from the impact of higher taxes down the road, head on over to davemcknight.com and click on the Connect with an Advisor button. I'm happy to refer you to an advisor in the Power Zero network that has been trained, vetted, and qualified personally by me. If you're a financial professional and want to learn how to become a certified Power Zero advisor, head over to powerzero.com and opt into my free video series. And if you have any comments or questions, feel free to drop them into the comment section below. I'll respond to every single one of them personally. And don't forget to click like, subscribe, and the bell so you never miss a video. This is David McKnight. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.